$2 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. But wait, there's more. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be switching to an American wireless company that's committed to keeping 100% of its customer service in this country. I appreciate that. In fact, that's why I switched. I also appreciate the way they support our vets and our skilled workforce. Dial pound 250, say micro, and get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. That's pound 250 micro. Stop paying twice what you need to pay for the service you want and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
There's a manhunt after 3 men are killed in Hawaii.
Police in Hawaii are searching for 36-year-old Jacob Baker of Pahoa, who they say is wanted in connection with 3 killings this week. 3 men, ranging in age from 69 to 79 years old, were found dead in the Puna area of Hawaii. One was partially submerged in a cement pond. Another was found dead with apparent blunt force injuries. The third was found dead following a welfare check request. Police urged the public to report any information about Baker. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Texas officials say the state has banned prison inmates from receiving hardback and used books to curb contraband. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice says the policy addresses drugs found in books. Last year, 385 books tested positive for drugs. News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy overnight, a low of 70 degrees. Tomorrow, much like today, few degrees cooler. More clouds and sunshine, a 30% chance. We get afternoon downpours. The high is 85. For Saturday, it's scattered storms. The high is 82. While on Sunday, more clouds and sunshine, a bit cooler. We get 79 for our high temperature. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
The Point. This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk, Sports Talk Media Network. Big Thursday night from our studios in Columbia. Great to have you with us. Phil Kornblut here. The plumber is back. Look at him. He looks so good after being at, a day away of rest. Rest and relaxation is what the plumber needed. So he's back and ripping and raring to go.
I could use another.
Ripping and raring to go. Thanks to Pat Daniel for filling in last night. While the plumber was filling in, Pat was filling in with us last night. So that's Chris Bergen from the Bergie Palace cackling in the background. It was, this now feels like, I know it's still May, but it feels like summertime out there today, baby. 96, hit 96 in the Pinto on the way over here. And glad the air conditioning is like a freezer. That's a good thing in the Pinto. So, yeah, good old South Carolina weather, a little humidity, a lot of heat. Enough maybe to drive the Yankees back out of the state. Do you see where Charlotte, I saw a story where like Charlotte's going to hit 1 million people. They're closing in on 1 million residents in the near
and I
future.
think that was part of that story, Phil, that came out yesterday. You're talking about should Charlotte and or North Carolina get a Major League Baseball franchise, because I think it's the biggest state in the union that does not have a professional baseball team. And I've always been against Charlotte getting a Major League Baseball team, because even with 1 million folks, I'm not sure they could support 81 baseball games a year. I don't buy that, but maybe they can. And at the rate the state of North Carolina is growing, I mean, they've got a hockey team in Raleigh. They've certainly got an NFL team in Charlotte. Maybe they can support a Major League Baseball franchise.
Yeah. I see where Sacramento is also in the mix now as they're talking about expansion in Major League Baseball. Do we, like in everywhere else, do we need expansion in Major League Baseball? I mean, do we want to continue to dilute
too many bad teams now.
The talent? Exactly. As I pointed out last night, you've only got 4 teams in the American League with a winning record. How many do you want under 500? So anyway, good to have you with us. We've got a great show for you tonight. Looking forward to what we've got. Chad Holbrook at 6:35, coach of the College of Charleston. He takes off that cap. He puts on his Sports Talk analyst cap, and he'll be analyzing the NCAA baseball tournament from now through the end of the World Series, as he did for us last year. He did such a fantastic job. So he is back by popular demand. He doesn't really want to be here. He'd rather be coaching his team, obviously. He'd rather be coaching his team. But this is a nice secondary job for him. So he'll be joining us 6:35. He'll be here tonight. He'll be here Monday to review the weekend, then back next Thursday before the Supers, and then the following Monday, so on and so forth, as we go through the College World Series. 7:05, how about this? Charlie Bussey III from Francis Marion. Is he the best player in the state? Is he the player of the year in baseball in South Carolina?
Without question.
The leading hitter in D2 baseball. What's he hitting? 479 when the season ended for him. So he's going to be with us to talk about him. He's a South Carolina kid, and he's going to talk about the season they had and, of course, his future, which will likely involve professional baseball to some degree. So looking forward to having him with us. We got a lot of recruiting to talk about tonight on the eve of Clemson's big weekend coming up for their official visits, plus a lot of movements in and out of the weekend for Clemson, a lot of other recruiting, a bunch of other news notes as well. Bergie, SEC meetings, I guess, coming to a close today. I think the presidents and the ADs have left, so I think it's pretty much coming to a close. And you talk about a bunch of hot air. I mean, seriously, how much money did they spend down in Destin to accomplish what? What did they accomplish? Okay, you're going to have to play a real team on the weekend before your rivalry game, all right? That was one thing that they agreed to, that they implemented, all right? The no cupcake rule. So that comes out of the meeting. Everything else was just met with, well, I don't know. Well, maybe, yeah. Well, maybe we should, or what are they going to do, or what should we do? It came out of there with a lot of talk, but nothing solid. And now they're going to sit back and see what Congress does with this cockamamie bill they're going to try and run through there, and good luck. I mean, I don't know if it becomes law. Things can still go to court, I guess, if you have a law that people think is applied unjustly. I mean, I was reading some of the reporting on the bill. I mean, you got a thing in there that says if you're fired as a coach, that you can't go take another job and help the new school that you're working at. You can't go
Lane
there
Kiffin rule
and start recruiting. Yeah, and start doing stuff like that. I mean, that's not going to hold up anywhere.
No.
And the other one was about I saw this interesting angle, which is true. So now they want to implement the one-time transfer. Okay, so say you play at School A your first year, and now you transfer after that first year. Your second year, you transfer to School B. Well, and you sign with School B and all that. What happens now? You're stuck. They can lowball you. They can lowball you because you can't transfer for free anymore. Now, you can transfer and sit out if you wanted to do that. How much money would you lose by doing that? Once you do that one-time transfer and you go to the next school, they can lowball you when it comes to share money, NIL money, because they got you then. You can't go anywhere. So that's part of that bill as well. I don't know how any of this is going to fly, and I really wish that those who run college sports were strong enough and wise enough to run college sports without having to turn to Congress to run it for them, to come up with a set of rules they can live by.
Well, and Phil, first off, the SEC spring meetings are about as big a waste of time as possible. I guess it does help buoy the Destin, Florida commerce and the economy down there, but they really don't need that because that's such a big spring break place, and a lot of folks love to go down there during the summertime. But you want to talk about people who are supposed to be in charge of college athletics. All the university presidents and chancellors are supposed to be down there as well. Now, maybe we're jaded because we only follow sports figures and only talk sports here, but I'm not sure I heard from any of the presidents down there talking about the situation regarding their own athletic programs and how they might be able to come together and help fix this stuff and not rely on the idiots in Washington, D.C. I mean, this is as big of, those guys and gals are as much to blame as anybody else. Mm-hmm. They are allowing all of this to happen right under their noses and have yet to say one word about it.
Waste of time. I mean, what it did do was give them 4 days of national coverage. I mean,
sure. Good point.
Every president, every AD, every coach that could be cornered, and none of them had answers to any of the ongoing problems. I mean, that's my point. What's the purpose if you're not going to come out of there unified and with some kind of answers? I guess one other thing they did come out of there with, besides eliminating Cupcake Saturday, was the fact that the SEC is not going to share their television money with any other league. They said they gave them the middle finger on that idea. They're like, we're not doing that. We're not going to go along with that and agree to that. So, typical SEC is going to look out for the SEC first and foremost, and the heck with everybody else in college football. So, it's and the thing is, all the football talk, there wasn't a whole lot of X's and O'ing down there in talking with the coaches that I could tell. Maybe some behind the scenes stuff. I mean, all that will take place. We're looking at about June, about 8 weeks before we have media days in Tampa. When that's just the football coaches, not the ADs, not the presidents. So things will get serious about formations and personnel and injuries and transfers and all that when that rolls around. So just saying that not a whole lot of substance came out of it as far as anything absolute. A lot of talking, maybe some ideas being kicked around, but not a whole lot of substance. All right, so we got the teams. We got the teams now at their locations, Bergie. You got Coastal Carolina down in Tallahassee, got Citadel over in Atlanta, and got Upstate in Tuscaloosa. All the teams went through practices at their various locations today, ready to rock and roll. When we get started tomorrow, we got starting pitcher for Coastal Carolina. Tell us about him.
Yes, Ross Norman, who will actually make his team-leading 16th starts. He's got an ERA up near 7, though, who has not been, just from a statistical standpoint, not the most impressive guy you could run out there, 6-6 on the year. But as we said earlier in the week when we heard what Kevin Snall said about going down to win a regional, not to win a game, you kind of got the idea he was not going to throw Cameron Flukie against Northern Illinois. He most likely is going to pitch him if they get Florida State on Saturday. And I'd be interested to get Chad Holbrook's opinion on this, holding back your ace for game 1 when you're not in that 1-4 matchup. I mean, this is a 2-3 matchup. You think Coastal should be better than Northern Illinois, but we don't know. This is a team who hadn't been in the NCAA tournament in, 50 years. So we have no idea what they're going to throw out tomorrow. Now, Coach, when we had him on the show earlier this week, said they've got a really good starting pitcher that they expect to see. They've got some pretty good hitters on their team. I mean, it's a gamble. There's no question about it. But Kevin Snall said, earlier in the week, Phil, we're going down there to win the regional. And I guess he figures out the best way to beat Florida State is to make sure you have Cameron Flukie available on Saturday if you get to them on Saturday.
I mean, you really, really got to like their chances if that happens. If they can get to Saturday with the bullpen relatively intact and with Flukie ready to go and at his best, you really got to like their chances. Now, Florida State is starting. I think he's one of their weekend starters. Right-hander Bryson Moore for their Friday game against St. John's. This will be his 15th start. So I think he's one of their regular weekend starters. 5-2 with a 4.91 ERA. So just saying, they're going to go, it looks like, with one of their regular guys from the weekend and start him against St. John's. Of course, I guess they feel like they're good enough with their rotation, and this is not their number one guy. I think they would be ready to go with their number one guy against Coastal Carolina, as Coastal would be ready to go with theirs, assuming the two meet up in the second game on Saturday.
Yeah, their ace is who? Wes Mendez, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, a guy who's got an ERA below 3. That should be a terrific matchup. 117 strikeouts on the year. If fluky and like Florida State with a little bit of a gamble, but I think they probably figure it's not as big a gamble as Coastal. You can't lose game 1 if you're going to sit your ace. You got to win that game.
Absolutely. Playing from behind, not easy in a regional because you burn up so much pitching working your way up through the bracket. Also today, the ACC announced the conference opponents for all the teams. So Clemson, not the dates and everything, but just the conference opponents. So Clemson, the takeaway from my standpoint is no North Carolina on the Tigers' regular season schedule and no trip to the West Coast, as they did that last year. So that's the good thing. Clemson will play home only against California, Duke, Notre Dame, Stanford, Syracuse, Virginia, Wake Forest. Cal, Duke, Notre Dame, Stanford, Syracuse, Virginia, Wake Forest. So Duke, obviously a marquee game, and Virginia, a marquee game. The rest, away, Boston College, Louisville, Miami, NC State, Pitt, SMU, and Virginia Tech.
Ooh.
And then you've got your home and away against Georgia Tech and Florida State. So Georgia Tech home and away, Florida State home and away. Again, nothing special with those two right now based on the status of the programs. The road games look kind of, Louisville tough, Miami tough, State's always tough, Pittsburgh's always a battle up there, SMU's good, and Virginia. Road schedule looks pretty daunting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's a much easier home slate for them, and obviously avoiding North Carolina. Of course, we don't know what the Tar Heels are going to look like with a brand new head coach, but knowing that you've got to go to Louisville, you've got to go to Miami, you've got to go to State and Virginia Tech. Boy, that's not going to be easy. Plus, you also have to go to Georgia Tech and Florida State. And again, not knowing exactly what those two teams pose. But yeah, I think from a home standpoint, Tiger fans are probably like, okay, we've got some games we can win. Let's buy up all the tickets for the Duke game. But darn, let's, can't we get maybe one other marquee team in?
Yeah.
You would think years ago, if you had Syracuse and Virginia, Wake Forest and Notre Dame and Duke all on your home schedule, it was really, really good. Not quite the same anymore, unfortunately.
Here's another thing from the scheduling, and this should be outlawed. I mean, this just should not happen. This tells you how bad things have become in college sports all across the spectrum, okay, in my opinion. NC State and North Carolina, they will not play in Raleigh this season with this schedule. First time since 1947.
That's insane.
Tar Heels haven't played in Raleigh. And my question is why?
Yeah.
To quote Dave Odom, why? Why? I mean, that should be no-brainer. The Tobacco Road 4, they should play each other home and away. There should be no question about that. That is the heart and soul of your daggum basketball conference right there, okay? And then everything else should be worked out. The fact Clemson's not playing North Carolina stinks because it's North Carolina, but that's not the deal. This is Tobacco Road. This is the Big Four. And you're telling me that State's not going to go to Raleigh? Tar Heels are not going to Raleigh. And, of course, I think they won't touch the North Carolina-Duke rivalry, obviously, just like you don't touch Alabama-Auburn in football. But I think there's been some other occurrences since they went to the schedule where you're not playing round robin, you're not playing everybody, where there's been some of the Big Four, there's been some cases where it hasn't been home and away prior to this. But NC State and North Carolina not playing home and away, that's just ridiculous. That is just ridiculous. So that's the result of the schedule from the ACC there. All right, let's go to the break. Plum are ready to go to the breaks. We're going to go to the break. Our phone number, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery. Give us a call. Our text line, 803-900-4847. 803-900-4847, and we'll be right back.
If you're a new parent or grandparent, it might be tough to picture your little ones heading off to college, but it'll be here before you know it. I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to start saving for a child's future education right now. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college today at futurescholar.com. That's futurescholar.com.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
Looking for thrills? Then welcome to the South Carolina Education Lottery, where excitement's the name of the game, and every chance at a win
Just one more. Come on, so close.
comes with the chance of a whiff.
Well, no biggie.
Nicely done. You handled it like a pro. Because when the stakes start getting too real and you find yourself playing for more than fun, it might be time to take a break.
Good point.
Playing for fun makes you a better player, and a better player is a better you. Learn more at SCEducationLottery.com.
Yeah, 96 degrees, at least in the Pinto today, and that's summertime in South Carolina, baby. That means it's time to get ready to go to the beach. I hope you've made your plans through James Smith Realty. If you don't have a place already stashed away to run down to, if you don't already have a house or a condo, I mean, you can go to a hotel, and that's fine, but why do you want to do that? Let Jimmy hook you up with a great location of your own. It could be a big house. It could handle, 12, 14, 16 people, maybe even more. Maybe you want a condo to handle 2 or 3 families. Whatever fits your need and fits your budget, they can find it for you all along the Grand Strand. So go ahead and get that done. Don't delay. 843-237-4246 for your perfect beach getaway online at Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. Pawleys Island, of course, beautiful place. Litchfield, Garden City, Murrells Inlet, all up and down through there. Happy to help you out. So get over and get that done. Phone number again, 843-237-4246, Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. All right, let's see here. We got some text messages. Text message line, 803-900-4847. And our text message line here on Sports Talk, of course, is brought to you by Larry Lucas, State Farm Insurance, LarryLucasAgency.com, or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998 in Columbia, 803-359-0770 for his relatively new office in Lexington. From the 803, did he just say new head coach at Tar Heels while discussing upcoming schedule? Did he just say, I don't know who he is. I didn't say anything about the head coach of the Tar Heels. Did you?
I did.
What'd you say?
You're talking about basketball, right?
Yeah.
I said we don't know what to expect from them because they've got a new head coach.
They do have a new head coach, yeah. Somebody's trying to catch us on something here, but I think the laugh's on you. No, you didn't say anything wrong.
I don't think that's a stretch, is it? Maybe it is. Maybe we should expect North Carolina to just be North Carolina, but
well, I think that was it Mike Malone? Malone, the new coach, is it Mike Malone?
Mm-hmm.
Mike Malone, yeah. I don't know how much. I mean, he doesn't have any say in the schedule, especially the league. No. The league schedule's made by the conference office. So That's not something that he's got anything to deal with. This is from the 803. I can remember when they had the North-South Challenge in Charlotte. Oh, yeah, that was awesome. NC State,
that was a great event.
North Carolina, South Carolina, and Clemson. Yes, it was. It wasn't. It was called. It wasn't called the North-South Challenge. It was called. Was it called the Dixie Classic? Was that the Dixie Classic? Used to play it. They used to play it at the old Charlotte Coliseum, that old round building on Independence Boulevard.
Okay, I was actually thinking of the newer edition of that. It was the Pepsi Classic in North Carolina and South Carolina were in there, and then they'd invite 2 other teams to come play. But no, the one I guess you're talking about, that almost predates me.
Yeah. 803 has gotten back to us. Y'all was discussing the football schedule, not basketball. No, we weren't. We were going over the ACC basketball schedule.
Right.
Yeah. So wrong on that, sir. We were talking about released today, the opponents, not the actual. We don't have the dates. The opponents that were announced today by the ACC for each of the ACC schools. From our friend Ray, Clemson is going to Cal. That's West Coast. No, they are in football, Ray, moron.
Again,
we were talking basketball.
Talking about basketball.
Yeah, I think Ray's probably got the lowest IQ of any of our listeners. I really do, because he doesn't listen to anything but his own thoughts. So, no, we're talking about basketball schedule. So, we're talking basketball. Missed that part. Pay attention.
Got to keep up.
Pay attention if you're going to be insulting people. If you're going to insult, get your insult right. Roger from Woodruff, it was called the North-South doubleheader.
Okay.
Okay. What was the Dixie Classic then? There was something in basketball called the Dixie Classic. Look that up, Plummer. There was something in Charlotte involving basketball teams called the Dixie Classic. Do you see that?
The Dixie Classic was an annual college basketball tournament played from 1949 to 1960 in Reynolds Coliseum.
Oh.
Yeah.
Between?
NC State, Duke, North Carolina, and Wake Forest.
Oh, okay.
And 4 teams from across the country.
Oh, you know what? I think that's right. They used to play amongst themselves. I think they called it the Big Four. And then here
that's correct.
It became the Big Four. Here in South Carolina, we had the Little Four. Can you name the Little Four? Used to have a tournament called the Little Four. It was Erskine, Wofford, Presbyterian, and Newberry, I think.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy overnight, a low of 70 degrees. Tomorrow, much like today, few degrees cooler. More clouds and sunshine, a 30% chance. We get afternoon downpours. The high is 85. For Saturday, it's scattered storms. The high is 82. While on Sunday, more clouds and sunshine, a bit cooler. We get 79 for our high temperature. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Tensions are still high in the Middle East, even after word that a deal with the U.S. may have been reached, something Iran did not immediately confirm. The deal is still pending with President Trump's approval. Ukrainian President Zelensky pressuring the U.S. for more Patriot air defense missiles to counter Russian attacks. He sent a letter to President Trump and Congress early this week, but has not received a reply. Authorities have resumed the painstaking search for 9 workers feared dead at a Washington state paper mill. The deadly chemical tank ruptured at the Nippon Dynawave Packaging Company. It devastated the city of Longview. 11 people presumed dead. Game 6 of the NBA Western Conference Finals tonight in San Antonio. The Thunder lead the Spurs 3-2. This is SRN News.
Hey y'all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We'd like to invite you and your family to dine with us. We have a great menu that's sure to please your whole family. We have fresh cooked burgers, big juicy wings, blue plate menu featuring country cooking, oven baked hoagies, fresh crisp salads, authentic Greek food like gyros, souvlaki, and baklava. We also carry 20 different premium cheesecakes and pies. Flight Deck Restaurant also has an arcade with 30 different games like Star Wars, Batman, Skee Ball, Bass Wheel, Pac-Man, Galaga, and so much more. Flight Deck, your favorite family restaurant. Thanks y'all and God bless.
Business owners, if you're ready to grow your business, you can relax. With Founders Federal Credit Union, we mean business. When it comes to business loans, from equipment to expansion, our flexible financing can help fund real business growth. If you're considering a business loan, such as real estate, vehicles, equipment, or an unsecured loan or line of credit, our team is here to help. Our local experts will review your application, resulting in quick decisions and processing. And unlike most banks, we don't charge prepayment penalties. As always, from Founders, you can expect great rates and exceptional service along the way. Visit foundersfcu.com/business to learn more, or to get started, stop by an office near you or give us a call. 800-845-1614. That's 800-845-1614. Membership qualification required. Institution NMLS. Identifier number 410646. Equal housing lender. Rates, terms, and conditions are subject to change. Loans are subject to credit evaluation and underwriting requirements.
Spring is the perfect time to make sure your home stays comfortable. For over 12 years, Sweet Comfort Services has been proud to serve Columbia as the best small family-owned heating and air company in the area. Whether you need repairs, a new installation, or preventative maintenance, our trusted team has you covered. We install dependable systems from Goodman and Train, and if you have a quote from any licensed HVAC company, we'll match or beat their price. Call 803-331-8143 or visit sweethvac.com. Sweet Comfort Services, keeping Columbia comfortable.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, here to share some great news. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, can now be used for a lifetime of learning. From K through 12 to college and beyond, saving tax-free for your child or grandchild's education has never been easier. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax-deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college today at futurescholar.com.
Hi, I'm Charlie.
And I'm Rodney. We're the owners of Shingles Now.
So there are a ton of roofers out there, too many frankly, and some of them, well, they lack ethics and morals.
We are both GAF certified master elite contractors. That might not mean much to you, but if you need a roof repair or replacement, it's essential, and it weeds out a lot of the fly-by-night roofers out there.
Replacing a roof is not something you do every day, so do it right. You want someone licensed, insured, local, and respected. Here at Shingles Now, you can count on us today and to still be here tomorrow.
Shingles Now, the right way, right away. Visit shinglesnow.com.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk Media Network, big Thursday nights. No Mike Morgan tonight. He is, last I saw of Mike, he was roaming around Disneyland or Disney World. Disney World. Yeah, which one?
I have an air tag on him. I could probably just search where his tracker is.
You do have an air tag on him?
Yeah, I have a tracker. I have a tracker on his vehicle.
Yep.
So that's not creepy at all.
It's for business purposes.
I just follow his Instagram. You know, he's a guy that likes to put his stuff on Instagram. So if you don't know where Mike is, just go to Instagram and you'll be able to follow his life here and there. So that's okay. We got a great fill-in during this time who'll be with us through the championship of the College World Series, as he was last year, and did a fantastic job. Backed by popular demand, the head coach of the Cougars of the College of Charleston, Coach Chad Holbrook, serving as the analyst for Sports Talk during the baseball tournament. Welcome in, sir. How are you?
I'm good, Phil. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's a pleasure having you on with us. I know that you would want to be in a dugout on a practice field or something right now. It wasn't your year this year. You've been very close in previous years. Maybe next year.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, we're knocking on the door, but it's tough on us mid majors right now. It's awfully tough. You know, we've been in a one bid league, and you know, Campbell this year had a great year, dominated the regular season, but dominating the regular season is not good enough. It essentially comes down to a 1 week season for us, and our week didn't go that well.
No.
But it's we're processing it, and hopefully the NCAA committee in the future will look more favorable at mid-majors than they are currently.
All right, so what did you think of the field overall, the 64 that were plugged in via the automatic bids in the selection process?
Well, there's some great teams. I mean, what UCLA's done this year is just, completely insane. They look like obviously a dominant team. They're going to be a tough out. They do it all. They got maybe the number one pick in the draft from a position player standpoint. They got the best pitching staff in the country from a numbers standpoint. So they're awfully good. They look awfully good. Georgia Tech is going to be a tough out in their park because it's such a offensive ballpark, and obviously they swing the bat as good as anybody. So that'll be an interesting regional, though, down there with the Citadel. And Oklahoma is not, they're not going to be in awe of Georgia Tech because of the league that obviously that Oklahoma plays in. But it's the one seeds are as strong as I've ever. They look incredible. When you start talking about Texas and Mississippi State and Georgia, Alabama, Florida State, Kansas had a good year, but they're very, very old, bunch of junior college players. It's just it's exciting for a baseball coach to watch the field play. It's play through, I guess, see how it unfolds, see who gets tight, who plays loose, relaxed. All that stuff is intriguing for me to watch. And generally speaking, the team that plays the one seed that plays loose and relaxed and with everything to gain and nothing to lose, those are the ones that last. But there's going to be a one seed or two you watch that either goes down or has to come out of the losers bracket because they got a little bit tight or didn't play well in a particular game or ran into a good pitcher.
Coach, I wanted to go back to your point about the mid-majors, and is there an actual pathway for them to get in? And clearly Mercer is a team that probably should be in the NCAA tournament. And is it disheartening from your perspective, if you were at Mercer, to look at a team like Kentucky and a team like NC State who canceled games late in the season so their RPI would not be affected, and they get almost rewarded for that by being put into the tournament, and a team like Mercer who did virtually everything they possibly could do with the exception of not winning the Southern Conference tournament doesn't get in?
As a mid-major coach, I was crushed. I was absolutely crushed because I don't think, when you start diving into Mercer's schedule, here's another thing.
Stand by. We lose Coach. Hang on, Coach. Your line dropped on us there, or something interfered. Do we have another boom in Columbia? There was some boom in Columbia
What's
about
going on with
an hour
you guys
ago.
over there?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Martians are attacking us here. Plumber is checking. Yeah, if you want, I was in the shower. Not to be too personal here. That's that would be an imagery.
You were in the shower at 5:23. No wonder you showed up late.
Actually, I was on time, and I was in the shower. Then it went boom. I thought somebody was breaking into my house. We got Coach back. We don't have Coach back. Okay, we're gonna have to reconnect. Can we reconnect with him?
I am calling right now.
Okay, you're not on the air when you just were talking.
Can you hear me?
There we go. We got you now.
I could hear y'all the whole time.
Yeah. All right, go ahead. It's a redo. We lost you there right as you were starting your answer.
Well, it's just frustrating for a mid-major coach when you look at the totality of Mercer and what they did and what they accomplished. The thing that bothers everybody's talking about NC State being ahead of Mercer and being in Kentucky, and yeah, you can certainly make those points. But the one that kind of baffled me was Troy. Troy's 32-29, and they got in their quote a mid-major as well. How did they get in over a 44 win Mercer team who beat Georgia Tech? Oh, and let me point this out: in the series, 2 out of 3, Mercer beat Troy. Explain that one to me. On the field they beat them. They won 12 more games than them. They're both labeled mid-majors. And they're in over Mercer. It just doesn't make sense to me. My other phrase is this: is like name a Power 4 team, a Power 4 school that's had an RPI in the 20s, a league record like theirs, quality wins like theirs, and have been left out. Has there ever been a SEC, ACC, big Pac-10, whatever school with that resume left out? It's unheard of, really. And I'm hurt that they were labeled. It was Mercer. You know what I mean? It's Mercer. They were left out because of their name, and obviously some politics played into part with NC State and probably Kentucky to a degree. But it's just they did everything they could do, including beating Georgia Tech. I mean, they beat a 1 seed. And they beat other mid-majors that got at-large bids. It's not like Troy won their league. So it's just it's been a frustrating thing for me for sure, because they to me, getting back to it, and I hate to be on the soapbox, but as a committee, baseball's a hard game. You can run into a hot pitcher and lose a game. You can have a tough 2-game stretch. Baseball is one of those games I wish we would evaluate it on a 3 or 4 month basis instead of a 2-game basis. And if they would look at it that way, I think they would appreciate it much more what Mercer accomplished.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say, because think about this. The whole idea of tournaments began with basketball, back in the 50s.
Right,
and
right.
They wanted the tournament to be a moneymaker, and they wanted the tournament to mean something. So what did they do? They said that the winner of the tournament, if you had a tournament, the winner of the tournament would be your automatic representative to the NCAA tournament. They got the automatic bid, not the regular season champion. But they did that to make the tournament important so they could make money off of it.
Right.
And that's just totally bonkers, especially now. And, I mean, we could solve this issue if the regular season champion got the automatic bid. Mercer would be going in. And then also your tournament champion should also be going in. That was the Citadel in this case. And then you bump a lousy team like Kentucky or Citadel, which has got no chance to, NC State or Kentucky, they got no chance to go very far in the tournament. These other teams probably have a better chance to go deeper in the tournament.
Well, it's just, and if you're not going to do it this way, expand the tournament. You know what I mean? I mean, if you want the mid-majors to be a part of it, expand it. Or if you're going to let the SEC teams dominate, or the ACC teams dominate, or the Power Four, I should say, dominate the brackets, at least create a few more lines for the mid-majors that are deserving. I'm not saying, like Campbell went through our league. They went through it. Now, I'm not going to get on the soapbox for Campbell because our league schedule and what we chose to do from a league schedule standpoint really damaged their RPI. So we got to bounce back from that. But Campbell had an incredible year, and they beat really good teams as well, including NC State. So it's maddening. It's tough on the mid majors right now, and I hope all this conversation about Mercer will make next year's committee look at it a little bit differently. I think they've had it handed to them pretty much, and Mercer's AD had an incredible quote about how I've been in that room before, and I know how much politics played a part in it, and that was his words, not mine. And it's interesting to see him come out and say that, having experienced what it's like to be on a committee. So we'll see. And but yeah, that being said, the Mercer argument, take that out. It's a fascinating bracket with some powerful teams, some great personalities, some great coaches, and it should be a great tournament.
College of Charleston head baseball coach Chad Holbrook with us here tonight on Sports Talk. He'll be with us throughout the NCAA baseball tournament as our guest analyst. And Coach, on the field now, you didn't have to deal with this much in South Carolina because when you were either an assistant or a head coach, you guys were usually always a number 1 seed. But when you're setting up your pitching, especially as a 2-3 matchup, what are the dangers of not throwing your frontline guy and trying to save him? I'll use Coastal Carolina for an example. It looks like what the thinking is over there with Kevin Snall is they're going to save Cameron Fluke and try and match him up with Florida State should they meet them on Saturday. So they're pitching one of their guys who has started for them a good bit, but certainly not the level of a Cameron Fluke. What are the dangers of that line of thinking? What are the positives if it pays off? And certainly what would be the negatives if it doesn't?
Well, I can tell you how a coach looks at it. The coach looks at it and says, if our number 2 can't win the first game, how are we asking him to win the second one? You know what? So a coach looks at it a little bit like, hey, if he can't win that first one against the opponent they have, how are we going to? How is he going to beat Florida State? So they look at it like, what's the best way to set up our pitching that gives us the best chance in our eyes to win the bracket, to win the tournament? And they feel like their best matchups, I'm sure, is Fluky against Florida State. I would guess. I haven't talked to Kevin, but I would sure that would probably be their thinking. But is there risk? Absolutely, there's risk, because if you lose, then you're in the losers bracket, and you're having to throw your number one in the losers bracket, and then it's questioned. But you have to make a decision with you can't look in the rearview mirror. You got to make it with what you think gives you the best chance to advance and to win it. Coastal's it's a winning program. They're there to win it. They're not trying. That being said, I'll say this, I've been lucky enough to win a regional after losing the first one. It's very, very difficult. If you lose that first one, it's your chances of advancing are less than 5%, especially when you're not on your home field. So it's an awful big game tomorrow, but they also probably have some trust and faith in who they're giving the ball to tomorrow as well. And sometimes, that one, and I'm not saying in this particular case, but sometimes a coach is sitting there saying, 1 and 2 is not much difference there. There's not much separation. They both deserve to pitch on Friday night, So sometimes coaches look at it that way as well. Huge risk, but huge reward. Sometimes in the tournaments, you got to roll the dice and set your matchups. What you think as a coach gives you the best chance to come out in the advance of the Super Regional. And I'm sure no one knows his team like Kevin. I'm sure he's doing that with that thought in mind.
All right, let me ask you about the situations with the other two from the state. Both of them are 3 seeds. Both of them are playing teams from Oklahoma. Citadel against Oklahoma and Upstate against Oklahoma State. Say this about the Citadel. Red hot going into the tournament. I mean, they practically just blew through the Southern Conference tournament. Their offense is on fire. Do they have enough to maybe pull off an upset?
Well, I can tell you this about the Citadel. And it's been as a coach very admirable to watch them. Inspirational to a degree. They have a group of guys in the dugout that'll, go to bat and fall on the sword for each other. They're the epitome. We all say this as coaches. Mm-hmm. Hey, let's make sure the front of the jersey is more important than the name on the back of the jersey. Well, they're living that. They care about the front of the jersey, and you got to give them. They're together. They're playing for each other. It's in strength is in numbers, and they got a great Friday guy, as well, that's been pitching really, really well. So that being said, the matchup with Oklahoma tomorrow is going to be a tough one, because Oklahoma's going to have some powerful arms, and they're not going to be in all, obviously, of the NCAA tournament with having, going through the rigors of the SEC. So, but you're right, they're red hot, and they have a lot of confidence. There's a lot of momentum. There's a lot of wind in that sail. So I have a feeling Citadel is going to be a tough out. They're going to battle Oklahoma. Oklahoma's in for a fight, I would think. And a lot of times when, you see a mid-major, and if you don't go equipped to be in a battle, like Oklahoma better have the mindset that they're playing another SEC school. They better, if they think it's going to be easy, they're going to be in for a rude awakening. Mm-hmm. Upstate is a challenging, very similar to the Citadel, that's hot. And there's a winning culture there. We played Upstate this year. We had some success against them, but you could see that they have ability, and their position players are very capable. I don't know. I don't have a extreme knowledge or really great knowledge about their pitching staff. However, their position players are impressive. They're impressive. That being said, I'm not comparing the Citadel with Upstate, but Citadel shares the same city with us, and I've been able to watch them and observe them. There's a chemistry there that has been very, very impressive as a coach to watch. And I find myself rooting for teams like that.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. I should not have asked you to praise the cross city rival there, but
well, we didn't. There's much respect there, and we didn't play them this year. Yeah, we had a scheduling mess, but it's really impressive what they've done, and we are we're shoot. When mid majors do well in the NCAA tournament, it's going to help us all for next year. It's going to help, it's going to help, and we need some mid majors to have a good run here, and because maybe the Mercers or the College of Charlestons won't get left out next year like we've been left out recently after having great regular seasons. So I'm pulling for those mid majors to get through one of their brackets. That would be really good for us.
All right, about 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds. Give us your long shot of the 64. Who's your long shot? Who's the one you like somewhere in the country that is going to rise up and surprise people, you think? Anybody?
Well, I hate to say this is a long shot. It's not a long shot, but very rarely is Southern Miss talked about, and I think they're impressive. I could see them advancing, getting through it. But that being said, I've seen the strength of the pitching staff of Virginia too. So, and they're in that regional. So it's. Let me see here. If I had to pick a upset team, for some reason, if I had to say what 4 is going to be to 1, I would be very careful if I was Kansas tomorrow. Only because Northeastern is tough. They're scrappy. They will fight you, and they will not be in awe of any moment as well. So if they looking for a 4 seed to win tomorrow, to me, I think Northeastern has a shot at it. I think they could make it very, very hard on the home team. A lot of times too, when you're playing, I'm sorry to go over, but when you're playing a team, when you're hosting and you haven't hosted before, a lot of pressure. You see it a lot they're not used to it, and that can be magnified. That's something to watch as well, because Kansas hasn't hosted before in a long time. None of those players have that experience, so they'll have some anxiety tomorrow. Northeastern will fight you for sure, but that North Carolina regional is captivating to me. How strong it is. Let me pull it. Let me find a Cinderella here. For some reason, I just it's very hard on those 4 seeds, man. If I was going to pick a 3 seed or a 2 seed, some reason East Carolina is playing hard and they're playing together, and we played them this year. They're very, very capable. They're very capable of winning for sure. And those SEC schools, Phil, as you know, they might, like you say, Kentucky or an Ole Miss, or there's teams in there that maybe aren't being talked about. But here's what they have: they have 1 or 2 starting pitchers that can dominate anyone, and there might be a surprise SEC school that you think, they shouldn't have got in, and all of a sudden you find them in the finals or the regional finals, or advancing to a super regional. So be on the lookout for one of those unsuspecting SEC or ACC teams that have dominant pitching. And I hate to say that ace at Kentucky can beat anybody, and those pitchers at Virginia can beat anybody. So I think that's the thing that I'm going to watch closely. And I'm going to go with Northeastern as my 4 seed to beat a 1 seed tomorrow.
We'll see how it works out, and we thank you so
Coach.
much. Great stuff, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks so much for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Fantastic. Thank you. That is Coach Chad Holbrook. Cougars,
and that's an 11 a.m. local time game tomorrow, too, with the Kansas Northeastern game. Those early start times normally favor the road team. Coach may be on to something.
And he knows Northeastern can pitch. That's in his league. He knows they can pitch. Hey, Clemson just got another football commitment. Tell you about it after the break.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, here to share some great news. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, can now be used for a lifetime of learning. From K through 12 to college and beyond, saving tax-free for your child or grandchild's education has never been easier. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax-deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college today at futurescholar.com.
This is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is here, and as you get ready to go out on the water this spring and summer, make sure you have all the required safety equipment on board. Check for a sound device. A horn or whistle will suffice for most boats. Inspect all of your life jackets. Make sure they're in good condition and are the correct size for all of your passengers. If your boat is over 16 feet, you will need to make sure you have an approved throwable device on board as well. Remember, boating safety is no accident.
Stop giving your hard-earned money to high interest rates. Founders Federal Credit Union delivers with credit card rates lower than the national average, with rates starting as low as 12.5% APR. That's way smarter than the over 20% APR rate the other guys are offering. Founders credit cards are reliable for all your needs, secure with MasterCard's ID theft protection and zero liability, and convenient with easy payments, loyalty points for rewards, and mobile access anytime through Founders Online. Experience the difference with Founders' lower cost, peace of mind, and effortless use. Take control of your finances right now. Visit foundersfcu.com/cc or an office near you to get your card today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Oh, Phil, you're supposed to stay neutral, but your stripes show it's indisputable. Tiger Phil can't sit still, orange and purple running through his will. Calls it fair, but we know the drill. Tiger Phil, oh, Tiger Phil.
All right, Clemson. National reporters go, Clemson. Play-by-play guys, Bergie, call them Clemson with a Z. Idiots.
Clemson.
We're not the smartest group as a whole.
Well, it's just stupid if you can't say the name. It's Clemson. Elijah Morrison, 6'4", 305 offensive lineman from Decula, Georgia, committed to the Tigers over Auburn, Georgia, Florida State. Taking his official visit to Clemson this weekend, had one scheduled with Georgia and had one scheduled with Florida State. Interior offensive lineman, 6'4", 305. So he is the newest commitment for Clemson, and that will give the Tigers their 13th commitment overall, their second for the offensive line. Let's go over the class. Christian Chancellor, cornerback from Daniel. Jaden Worth, defensive tackle from Dutch Fork. Max Brown, linebacker from Jefferson, Georgia. Bryce Kish, linebacker from Howell, Michigan. Carter Jones, offensive lineman for Quasin, Virginia. Now throw in Morrison there. Kareem Hughley, quarterback, Gainesville, Georgia. He's in the Elite 11 competition. Gary Walker, running back, Fairburn, Georgia. Harrison Luke and Jarrell Chandler, safeties. Carter Blackwell, tight end. Receivers, Trey Wembley and Jamarin Simmons. And Clemson now sitting at 13 commitments, and we'll be back.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. In Dubai, United Arab Emirates, there's some good news regarding the war with Iran.
U.S. and Iranian negotiators have reached what appears to be a tentative deal on extending this ceasefire by 60 days. As part of the deal that still hasn't been signed off by President Trump, it would extend the ceasefire by 60 days. It calls for opening the Strait of Hormuz and a demining of the Strait of Hormuz. And in the 60-day period, the U.S. and Iran would also begin negotiations on Iran's nuclear program.
That's correspondent Amir Madhati. And plans for the Gaza International Stabilization Force are in question as troop pledges stall.
An international stabilization force promise for Gaza has yet to materialize 3 months after it was announced at an event hosted by President Donald Trump. None of the 5 countries that pledged troops have come through with any significant contribution. Efforts to shore up the fragile ceasefire has stalled as Hamas has refused to disarm. Israel has seized more territory while continuing to strike what it says are military targets. The Iran war has meanwhile made it more difficult for Arab and Muslim leaders to openly cooperate with the United States and Israel, and the resulting global energy crisis has sapped their resources. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
PNC Chief Economist Gus Fauché says, while the Commerce Department reports inflation increased 3.8% in April from a year ago, the biggest increase in 3 years, consumer spending has also been gradually increasing.
There are more pressures on consumers with higher energy prices and the softer labor market. In fact, once we adjust for inflation, income's down about 1% over the past year. But consumers are still spending even outside of gasoline. But we are seeing slower growth in consumer spending as consumers deal with higher prices.
That's economist Gus Fauché. More on these stories from townhall.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
There's a new scandal involving Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government.
Israel's Attorney General has said a close advisor to Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will face criminal prosecution for leaking secret information to a German newspaper with the intent of harming the country's security. The announcement on Thursday marked another scandal for the embattled Netanyahu as the country gears up for elections this fall. Netanyahu himself is on trial for corruption in 3 separate cases and faces tensions within his coalition that threaten to dissolve parliament. I'm Karen Shamas.
A fire devastated a girls' boarding school in central Kenya, killing at least 16 students, injuring many more. That blaze occurred at the Utamishi Girls' School, which has over 800 students. Police are questioning surviving students to determine the cause of this deadly blaze. News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy overnight, a low of 70 degrees. Tomorrow, much like today, few degrees cooler. More clouds and sunshine, a 30% chance. We get afternoon downpours. The high is 85. For Saturday, it's scattered storms. The high is 82. While on Sunday, more clouds and sunshine, a bit cooler. We get 79 for our high temperature. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com. The Point.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we are back. Sports Talk Media Network. Big Thursday night. Having a great time talking to you and talking to the folks who are joining us here on the program. Appreciate you being with us tonight. Know that you got a lot of things going on. Maybe you're out for a walk this late afternoon. Maybe you're playing some golf, going for a run, taking a swim, whatever the case may be. We're glad you got Sports Talk dialed in with you, and make it a habit. Tell a friend. Tell a friend. Who did we steal that from, Plumber? Who did we steal Tell a Friend from?
The Point.
The Point.
100.7 The Point, Columbia.
Is it working for him? Is it helping?
Telling your friends about The Point?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I saw where the landlord got an award the other day.
It's sitting right behind us.
Oh, there it is. All right, there it is in all its glory.
So observant.
Business of the Quarter from the KC West Columbia Chamber of Commerce. That's very nice. Congratulations to the landlord for a job well done. He works hard.
You think I can sell this?
I think you could. Might get $10 out of it. So All
better
right.
than what I had.
Talking a lot of baseball tonight, and want to welcome into the program a guy that you may have to consider as the player of the year in South Carolina.
Oh, there's no consideration here.
You think it's a slam dunk?
It's a slam dunk.
Let's welcome to Sports Talk Charlie Bussey III from Francis Marion University. Charlie, welcome in. How are you?
How we doing, guys?
We're doing fantastic. How are you? Thank you for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations, man. First of all, before you start answering questions, let me just tell people what you did this year for Francis Marion, which made it all the way to the Super Regional, to the last game of the Super Regional. You hit 489 on the season, 489. You had 113 hits and 231 at bats. I can only dream of something like that.
Insane.
21 homers, a triple, 22 doubles. You drove in 77, a slugging percentage of .866. You walked 57 times. You were hit 16. You only struck out 25. You only hit into 3 double plays. You stole 40 bases. Man, what a year. Congratulations. What do you think of the year you had?
I mean, it was a great year, man. You know, we put in the work all season. We get to it. We hit it hard with training. You know, we dream of moments like this. So, you know, being able to go out there and execute how we wanted, it was just a great feeling.
What made your year so good, though? I know you're thinking team first. I get that. Everybody can appreciate that. But what made Trey as good as you were this year?
Just, you know, I got to, you know, the hitting part of, you know, not swinging at balls outside the zone. You know, I took my game to another level on that stage. You know, I wanted to cut down on the strikeouts, and we did that. And so, you know, just, you know, being that guy in the lineup that, you know, was confident every day, knowing, you know, I'm going to bring my best ball out there and, you know, I'm going to give my team the best shot to win was always a great feeling. So for me, it was just, you know, being able to have fun with the game and, you know, be successful as I was and just, you know, enjoy every minute of it.
Did you have, besides your hitting coach at Francis Marion, did you have some other hitting coaches that you worked with off season, or maybe when you just were away that you worked with? Anybody in particular you would cite that really helped you with your batting stroke?
I do. His name's Coach John Graham. You know, we get in there every day, you know, as much as possible, and, you know, we just, you know, get to the craft. You know, hitting is a thing where, you know, you have to work, you know, on it a lot to be successful with it. So me, you know, I love moments like that. I love to get in the cage. I love to just, you know, try to perfect hitting, even though, you know, it's a hard thing to do. So, you know, Coach John Graham has done a really good job with helping me, you know, take that next step that I needed to take.
Let's just tell people some of the awards you've gotten from this year. Just announced that you're a first-team All-American for Division II, Baseball Writers Association. You were the Southeast Region Player of the Year, and by one organization, then Southeast Region Player of the Year by another organization. D2 CCA Southeast Region Player of the Year, Rawlings Southeast All-Region Team. Let's see if I can find something else here. Conference Carolinas Player of the Year, Conference Carolinas All-Conference First Team, All-Defensive Team, Francis Marion Team MVP, the 2026 Frankie Award for the Male Athlete of the Year at Francis Marion, on and on and on. I mean, do you have a trophy case large enough to handle all the hardware?
We're trying, man. You know, we got a whole hall down here that we got putting the awards on. So, you know, we're just trying to keep them coming, man. You know, enjoying every minute. You know, just playing hard, and, you know, showing, and, you know, continue to show. So it's been a great feeling.
Yeah. So you had a great year, and it has to be a very satisfying, you know, when a player, an individual player has a great year, but his team has a great year as well. I mean, you were part of a great team that won your region and won your conference and got to the super regional final there and very close to getting to the World Series. So what was it like for you playing with this bunch of players and putting it all together to have the kind of year that y'all had?
It was exciting, man. You know, from the get-go, we were all, you know, striving for the goal to make it to the end, and we didn't make it there. We came up short, you know, a little short, but, you know, we fought hard every day. You know, we got out there to practice. You know, we put in work. You know, we worked hard. You know, after practice we would go lift. You know, we're lifting every day, 3 or 4 times a week. You know, so it was a lot. You know, and it was fun. You know, everybody clicked. Everybody had good connections. You know, it was just a great bunch of people, and you know, being with them every day it's tough not being with them every day anymore. You know what I mean? You know, we were together every day, so we got to see each other every day. And now that we're separated, you know, it's tough, but you know, it's part of college baseball, and you know, just making those connections that'll, you know, last you forever. It's just a great feeling.
Sure.
John, I'm going to help our listeners out here for just a quick second. Next week, our Twitter poll question is going to be, who was the baseball player of the year in the state of South Carolina? We're talking to him right now. Go ahead and mark this down. Charlie Bussey III, South Carolina baseball player of the year. Just an incredible season. Charlie, how much so did obviously you had just insane numbers, but Ethan McAnally did as well. How much did he help you? How much did you help him? How much was your sort of tandem a threat for everybody else trying to pitch to you guys?
You know, Ethan was a great pickup for us, man. You know, him hitting right behind me every day was, you know, a thing where, okay, if you're going to walk with me, you got to deal with him too. And, you know, this is a guy that's going to go up there and hit it 500 feet every chance he gets. So, you know, it was just a great feeling. Great dude, great human. And, you know, Ethan, you know, he's going to be a special kid, you know, a special player. So having him in our lineup this season was great, you know, great pickup. Also, we had more guys, Riley, Will Durrell, you know, guys just protecting, you know, me just if they wanted to walk me. So having those guys protecting me in the middle of the meat of our lineup was always a big thing.
And Riley and Will, that Charlie just mentioned, also hit well over 300 this year for the team that led the country in runs scored. And speaking of which, Charlie, can you remember a season in which you actually had more runs scored than you did base hits, and both of them were over 100?
I couldn't honestly. You know, you may have to take me back to my 8U, 9U days, you know, when, you know, things were just, you know, going like that, but I can't. It was crazy, man. It was crazy.
So what are your plans this summer as you continue on your baseball career? I'm assuming you're going to play somewhere summer ball, right?
Yes, sir. So I'm actually going to head down to Cape Cod on the 7th and get some work in down there for a month. And we're just, you know, just working out, trying to, you know, figure out if, you know, we can take the next step with things. And, you know, that's my plan. That's always been my dream. So, you know, be a professional baseball player. So we're trying to take those steps maybe, or, you know, run it back at Francis Marion as of right now. So, you know, we're just trying to figure out what's best for me. But we're going to go down to the Cape Cod on the 7th and play some good baseball down there and enjoy ourselves and just see how we shake up.
Yeah, you didn't play in, 2024, so you still have another year of eligibility?
Yes, sir. I still have another college year that, you know, it's possible for me to use. So we're still trying to make decisions on what's best for me and what's the best steps. But, yes, sir, I still do have another year.
All right. Well, you know where that leads to, because in today's college world, nobody is set in stone at any one place. Or is your phone? Let's see now. You're not in the portal. Well, the portal doesn't open until Monday.
No, sir.
For the D1s. I'm not sure about D2s, but I hadn't seen your name in the portal. So, I mean, are you getting some behind the scenes contact, roundabout contact from some major schools that would be interested in visiting with you?
As of right now, I'm not, but you know, I have a great connection with Coach Jeff and the Patriots right now. So as of right now, I'm not, but you know, if that comes around, maybe. But as right now, I'm a FMU Patriot, so I've just, you know, just been getting my work in and getting ready for the Cape.
Yeah. What kind of information are you getting from the real professional teams, the majors, about like anybody giving you any indication of a round at this point?
Not necessarily. They haven't gave me a specific round. I've, they've been contacting me, which has been great, and I've been doing some workouts, so that's been also good as well. So they've been contacting me, but they haven't told me a round or anything specifically like that yet. So we're just gonna see how it falls, and we're just gonna, keep playing hard, and hopefully, our name could get called one day.
Now, were you a stud at Midland Valley, or are you a late bloomer here? Did you just take off at Francis Marion, or were you tearing it up at Midland Valley?
I like to think I've been tearing it up all my life, man. I've always, been this, guy that's just playing hard, and I just haven't got maybe the recognition I may have, needed, but I've always been a baller, man, and I'm always going to, leave it all out there on the field because, this is what I like to do. It's what I love to do. So, why not?
Yeah. Did you play any other sports at Midland Valley?
I played football. I played high school football for 4 years, and I played basketball too. When I transferred to Aquinas, I did play basketball too, but I love basketball is not for me. It was football and baseball. Football and baseball were my two, and I still would play football to this day if I could. But we don't have football at FMU.
Yeah, they don't yet. Well, listen, man. Congratulations. Not yet. Congratulations to you, and man, what a season for you guys. Fantastic to see Francis Marion pop up like they did and have such a great year, and you individually. And we'll be keeping an eye on things this summer to see how it works out for you, and I'm sure we'll be talking about you and talking to you again. So thank you so much for the time, and good luck.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you all for the time. Thank you all for the call, and go Pats.
Thank you very much. Charlie Bussey,
Red Sox fan too, Phil.
I know, I saw that. Wasn't going to bring that up. By the way, quick shout out to Michael Hawkins. Long time. You know him better than I do, so go ahead.
Such a great dude. He's, I think you told me, I've forgotten this, at 41 years as the sports information director at Francis Marion, retiring. I think today is his last day.
Today, yeah.
So congrats to Michael after just a wonderful, wonderful career.
Great stuff. Be right back.
Hi, I'm Jim Corbett. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years. There's one thing I've learned about injury cases. It's you need the personal touch. You need the lawyer to get to know you and describe your damages. You don't want a case manager talking to an insurance company and then talking to you and then talking to maybe to a lawyer with limited experience at the last minute to try to settle a case. I talk to you. I find out what your case is about. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com for your injury cases.
When I was in high school, my coach liked to say, you don't rise to low expectations. And that's just always stuck with me. So with the help of my lottery-funded life scholarship, I was able to get a degree in secondary education. Now it's my turn to invest in my athletes, the same way my coaches did for me. Who knows? Maybe one day they'll do the same for someone else.
Better coaches means a better South Carolina. And a better South Carolina means a better you. Visit SCEducationLottery.com/betteryou.
If you want to reach sports fans, there's no better place than the Sports Talk Media Network. We give your business exposure on over 20 radio affiliates across South Carolina, plus online at SportsTalkSC.com and on our growing social media platforms. That means radio, digital, and social, all working together for your brand. Our audience is loyal, engaged, and they trust what they hear from us. We partner with local businesses, regional brands, and anyone who wants to connect with real sports fans. From live reads and sponsorships to digital advertising, we'll build a custom campaign to fit your goals and budget. Ready to advertise with Sports Talk Media Network? Visit sportstalksc.com/sales-contact. That's sportstalksc.com/sales-contact. Sports Talk Media Network. Advertising that reaches sports fans.
Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
All right, thanks again to Charlie Bussey III. Trey, it's one of his nicknames. Trey, I think he goes by CB3 also.
I like the CB3. I really do. I think that's the better of the two.
Yeah. Mine is PK1.
All right.
Yours is Bergie.
Bergie, yes.
Plumber. Yep. Time for recruiting here on Sports Talk. It is brought to you by Seawells. Do we have we did not have an updated menu as of last night.
Not an updated menu as of today either.
Have they been open this week? I haven't been able to get over there.
Why don't you get over there tomorrow?
I haven't had a chance to get over there. Usually if there's no menu, there's no lunch buffet.
I'm sure they'll still serve you. I'll find something.
Knock on the door.
Some
Open
scraps.
Up. Well, when they are open, if they are open, and when they are open, you want to get over there for the daily luncheon buffet from 11 till 2. You know, we should treat our guests to the daily luncheon buffet. We should call CB3 up and say, hey, meet us at Seawells. We'll take you out. Then I'm going to sign up as his agent. That's what I'm going to do.
That's what we need to do, actually.
Sign up as his agent. I mean, how hard can it be to be an agent? You know, you just sit down and you look a guy across the table in the eyes, in the face, and you go, we're starting at $500,000. What you got? And if they show you the door, then you go to the next guy. We're starting at $450,000. What you got?
Bergie, let's be my agent. Phil, we want $500,000 for my next year here at Sports Talk.
There's the door.
All right, we'll go down to $350.
Take that down the street. Now, if you've got an event coming up that you want to have the very best in the catering world involved with you, you want to call Seawells and let them come in and handle that for you. Professional and dignified, on time, arrive, set up, execute, clean up, the whole deal. Or you can have your event at their location. Whatever. Give them a call for all the information. 803-771-7385. Online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. So, you're working on the story, so you can tell us a little bit more about Elijah Morrison, offensive lineman from Decatur, Georgia, who about a half hour ago, it was announced that he's committed to Clemson ahead of his official visit this weekend.
Hebron Christian Academy product, 6'4", 290, held actually about 25 offers as he was being recruited, and it appeared Georgia was going to be where he ended up. Kind of makes sense in state, but Tigers able to swing him their direction, and evidently Matt Luke did a tremendous job in recruiting him. 13th commitment already for the Tigers in the 2027 class, second offensive line pledge. And Grayson Mann tells us more about this, but since this past Monday, Clemson has landed 6 commitments for the 2027 class. They are on some kind of heater. He is also an accomplished track and field athlete at Hebron Christian Academy. As a junior, set their shot put record at the school with a toss of 52 feet, 3.5 inches.
Oh, my gosh.
If I understand the measurements correctly.
I think the plumber could be a good shot putter, you know, because you got to spin around and get momentum, and you get, you know, because, you know, large people can build up that speed and throw that shot put. I think you'd be good at that.
I think your mom did that.
Excuse me?
Ouch.
What are you talking? We don't do mom jokes on this show.
Our first mama joke on Sports Talk.
We don't do that. I mean, I know your mama wore army boots, but, you know, and chewed tobacco, but we're not doing mama jokes on this show. All right. So anyway, he must still be under the influence of whatever it was he had, you know, whatever they gave him yesterday. All right. Now on to others. Cornerback Kelvin Millington. He's 6'4", 185. Oh, I was going to say Grayson Mann's going to join us at 7:35 to talk about the Clemson recruiting weekend coming up, because it's a big one, 30 plus, right around 30 plus official visits. Cornerback Kelvin Millington, 6'4", 185 of Bogart, Georgia, down to South Carolina, Texas Tech, and Virginia Tech. Georgia Tech was a 4th program under consideration, but no longer. He will take his official visit, his first one, to Columbia, June 5th, trips to Lubbock and Blacksburg to follow the next 2 weekends. He's looking at a mid-July commitment announcement. USC secondary coach Torian Gray, who, of course, loves tall corners, he offered Millington 6 weeks ago. Millington then visited for the Gamecocks recruiting event May 17th. In between, Gray made a pair of visits to Bogart to meet with Millington. So relationship there very strong. He likes Gray a lot. Of course, he knows Gray's history of developing defensive backs. They have included him in the group chat now, so they're really that's another step in the whole process. Once you get strong with a prospect, you include him in the group chats and you get the family involved. That's what's happening here in this particular case. You know, they would start him out as a corner, and he said if that didn't work out, he could move to nickel or he could move to safety. He could play any of the three. So right now, coming up, since South Carolina was his most recent visit, he said South Carolina is probably where he's leaning a little more towards them right now because that's the most recent visit and it's fresh. But he does have Texas Tech and Virginia Tech still to come. And I got to be honest with you, Bergie, this is what he said. He was being very honest when talking about what he's going to be looking for and judging the schools after he goes to these visits. So he said, I hate to always bring it up. These are his words, quote, I hate to always bring it up, but with this age of recruiting in college football and NIL, I kind of want to know where I sit with those numbers, end quote. So he's not beating around the bush.
I like the honesty.
Yeah.
Good for him. Yeah.
Not beating around the bush. Now, wide receiver Lawrence Britt of Memphis switched his official visit for this weekend from Clemson to Arkansas. So it looks like that relationship is over. Same with offensive lineman Reed Ramsier of Orlando, who has cut Clemson from his list. He's down to Auburn and Texas. He was scheduled for this weekend. And Clemson target wide receiver Tay Walden of Memphis is going to go to Auburn this weekend instead of Clemson. Of course, Clemson's been projected to land wide receiver Julian Cromartie, who is visiting this weekend. That's the son of Antonio Cromartie. So they will have their two receivers once he commits. South Carolina target defensive end Frederick Ards of Orlando taking an official to Texas A&M this weekend. He visited the Gamecocks the first of the month. South Carolina target defensive back Joshua Dobson, offered by Colorado, as was Irmo defensive end Jaden Bryant, an LSU commitment. Clemson basketball today announced the official signing of 6'9" free agent David Fuchs from San Francisco. Wofford signed 8 players in the spring. 6'6" Chris Arias, transfer Jacksonville. 6' Jacob Daniels, transfer Lander. 6'6" Cam Lowe, transfer Black Hill State, South Dakota. 7' Evan Ramsey, transfer from Virginia Wise. 6'1" Misho Kaunov of Bulgaria. 6'2" Jamon Price, Chantilly, Virginia. 6'5" Jet Carter, Hargrave Military. And 6'4" Javai Dawkins of Greensboro, North Carolina. Baseball, catcher Colin Guerra decommitted from Clemson. And USC lost a commitment from 27 infielder Jordan Kurtz of California. That's recruiting. Be right back.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy overnight, a low of 70 degrees. Tomorrow, much like today, few degrees cooler. More clouds and sunshine, a 30% chance. We get afternoon downpours. The high is 85. For Saturday, it's scattered storms. The high is 82. While on Sunday, more clouds and sunshine, a bit cooler. We get 79 for our high temperature. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
What's better than getting the best Wagyu and Hereford beef anywhere in these parts and getting it delivered to your door? How about knowing you're still supporting local farmers in Saluda over at H&J Cattle, where tradition meets quality? Visit HandJCattle.com. Place your order for $50 or more, get free delivery in Richland or Lexington County. Plus, Point listeners get 10% off your order. Enter keyword The Point as one word for your discount. HandJCattle.com.
The Point.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. There's been a huge fire that has destroyed a 2-story apartment building in Dallas, causing fatalities and injuries. Deputy Fire Rescue Chief Deputy Mark Berry said during the news conference that the search for missing people is ongoing now. First responders' mission has changed from rescue to recovery. Officials say the fire erupted after someone called 911 to report a gas leak. Police in Hawaii searching for a 36-year-old man who they say is wanted in connection with 3 killings. Authorities describe Jacob Baker is armed and extremely dangerous. An Austrian court convicting a man of planning to attack a Taylor Swift concert in Vienna nearly 2 years ago. That man was sentenced to 15 years in an Austrian prison. This is SRN News.
When your pipes panic, Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning steps right in, fast and friendly. Josh and his team aren't just fixing leaks, they're restoring your peace of mind. This is when you're at your most vulnerable. You got a problem, you need a solution. They're not coming out to upsell you or talk you into something new this or new that. You'll appreciate their process. They'll tell you what needs to get done and what it'll cost before they ever even bring in their tools to start the work. They're locally owned, which unfortunately is no longer the norm in the Midlands. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning will treat every home like their own. They've done work for me, for my brother, countless numbers of Point listeners. Dial 799-2222 or visit franklinplumbing.sc.com and you tell them Kev from The Point sent you. You will experience plumbing that's more than just a fix. It's a solution from people who care about their work and stand by it. When you need them, please don't panic. Just call Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, 799-2222.
Nothing better than a Saturday night in Casey, West Columbia. It's the return of Rhythm on the River, proudly presented by the Greater Casey, West Columbia Chamber and Prisma Health. Come out to the Savage stage at Savage Craft Ale Works on Center Street this Saturday. Give a listen to the Root Doctors. It's family-friendly and pet-friendly. This year, we even have pop-up stands of various local businesses. For more information on this and all events, check out cwcchamber.com/Rhythm on the River, and we'll see you for the Root Doctors Saturday at Rhythm on the River.
When you've served the Midlands for more than 80 years, you're obviously doing something right. Groucho's Deli has 8 Midlands locations and for decades holds the title of Best Sandwich, Best Salad, Best Sweet Tea, Best Fast Lunch, Best Bang for Your Buck, Best Deli. Well, you get the idea. Order online at Grouchos.com and on the Groucho's app for fast, convenient, and friendly pickup. And sign up for the Groucho's Rewards and Birthday Brownie Club.
When you think of family, you think of hugs and lots of love. That's what your loved one will find when they move to Oakley Village for assisted living or memory care. You can rest assured your family members will participate in engaging activities, have exceptional care, and all their needs met. You gain peace of mind that comes from family taking care of family. Call Oakley Village today at 803-969-8168 and see how you too can join a community that feels like family. Or you can reach us online at oakleyvillagelexington.com.
Hey, honey.
Please tell me you didn't hide the protein bars again.
Maybe, but only because they taste too good and you keep eating them all.
I'm serious. These First Form meat sticks, protein powders, and bars are actually great.
And don't forget the lemonade drink mix. High protein, low guilt, and perfect for staying healthy on a GLP-1.
I never thought healthy would taste this good.
Find First Form products now at True Pharmacy on the corner of Divine and Beltline and Triangle Pharmacy, 1239 D Avenue in Triangle City. Protein made easy.
All right, it's a big Thursday night here on Sports Talk. Has some great guests. Get back to more of your text messages here in just a little bit. You got a comment or question, 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847, or a phone call later on. You want to dial us up on the Sports Talk South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, which is 888-898-2525, 888-898-2525. Just mentioned the information in our recruiting report on Elijah Morrison committing to Clemson, big offensive lineman, 6'4", 290. Let's welcome in to Sports Talk once again from Tiger Nets, the guy who has stolen all the thunder from David Hood. David Hood used to be the man. Now he's a memory. We got the current man. Hood's a memory. We got the current man in Grayson Mann, handling recruiting for Tiger Net and covering the Tigers day in and day out. Welcome in, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. I think that might be sacrilege, my friend. That might be sacrilege for a TigerNet legend in David Hood.
Absolutely. with all due respect, I bow to his greatness. I bow to his greatness. But where are you off to? I hear you driving somewhere. Where are you off to? If you can tell us.
I'm heading to Greenville to watch the Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals with a few friends. So I'm looking forward to seeing Wemby in action once again. That'll be a lot of fun.
Little party night for you. Okay, I hear you. But you got your work done. Elijah Morrison, the latest to jump on board. This is going to be a huge weekend for Clemson, recruiting-wise. They're going to get the bulk of their summer work done, and it's going very well leading into it with this stream of commitments. How do you think they're feeling about things?
I would say, Phil, they're feeling pretty great. And about 2 weeks ago, you probably would have been saying the opposite, where they really needed a big win heading into this official visit weekend. And instead of just one victory here or there, they got 6 of them in the form of 6 commitments for the Tigers. And I got to say, Phil, it has been a balanced effort. You have obviously a little bit more of an offensive flavor over the last several days, but I think with Tom Allen and his staff, that shifts the focus this weekend to filling out the defensive side of the football. But certainly Clemson's red hot. They've started a grease fire, if we could describe it like that. And so it has been, I think, pretty phenomenal to see the staff move the chess pieces in the right spots to be able to make these moves. And so ultimately, if you're a Clemson fan, you got to be feeling pretty great, because not only is your team red hot on the recruiting trail, you haven't really even gotten started yet with this official visit weekend, not even set to kick off until tomorrow.
Do you think they're hitting on most of their number ones to this point?
I wrote a column on TigerNet with the specifics of Jamarian Simmons, Gary Walker, and Carter Jones that they absolutely have, in that sense, where you got your top offensive lineman, you got your top wide receiver, and then in Walker's case, you got your top running back. And so Clemson is not just picking up table scraps of the big dogs in the country. They're beating out some serious opponents here. Jarrell Chandler was one of their top safety targets, had to beat out a big offer from Miami to land him. So they are taking big swings, and they're not just hitting singles, Phil. They're hitting triples and doubles and home runs.
The one quarterback they'll have, Kareem Hughley, out of Gainesville. Of course, the last quarterback they got from Gainesville, Georgia, turned out pretty well. Not saying he's going to be in the same category as Deshaun Watson. He's in the Elite 11 out in California, which I think is beginning today or tomorrow, cranking up here pretty soon. How do you think he'll fare out there? Do you think he can hang with the elite of the country?
Phil, whenever I've talked to him, and I think his recruitment has been fascinating because he finished up pretty quickly in comparison to a lot of these other quarterbacks. So the idea of him going out to a Carrollton camp where we're able to catch up with him, or going to throw at a session in Georgia, doesn't necessarily need to do that, but there's this competitive tick to him that I think makes him a really nice fit for Chad Morris and Clemson. And so everything that we've seen from him on this camp trail where he's competing against some of the top guys, it looks like he's one of those players, Phil, that really elevates his game when it really calls for, when the lights are brightest. You know, those key catchphrases we use for the elite quarterbacks. I think Kareem is one of those talents. And so the Elite 11, maybe he won't win MVP, but I wouldn't be shocked if the reports out of Los Angeles are, man, Clemson got another really good one, similar to what we heard about Tate Reynolds last summer when he competed in the same event.
Sure.
Chatting with Grayson Mann of TigerNet. And Grayson, I guess the obvious question is, because of how well Clemson has done, I think you tweeted it out since last Monday, they've gotten 6 commitments. I mean, some kind of heater here. The national narrative, though, is the game has passed Dabo by. He won't use the transfer portal. They don't have the money to spend. So, obviously, a lot of that is false. So what is it that is still working in the modern era of college recruiting that still works for Clemson, even if they may still plug in to sort of old school recruiting, if you will?
Yeah, it's been an uphill battle for Clemson for sure. And obviously when you go 7-6 and you lose a string of commits like they did in the fall and had some of those issues, it's certainly fair to make those assumptions about where Sweeney is at with this program. But I think you've got a staff that's unified in its vision. When you brought back a guy like Chad Morris, all the indications from the recruits that I've talked to other sources that he's done a remarkable job on the offensive side of adding a little bit more urgency to that recruitment, and you've really seen it translate over the last several weeks. So Clemson's taking some bigger swings. I think that we can read the writing on the wall there. We can read between the lines that those bigger swings often coincide with a little bit larger offers on the recruiting trail. And then, of course, the hauls that they got from the transfer portal. I think you're seeing a trend here of what Clemson has to understand, or at least that internal understanding of what they need to do to be competitive. And I think for you guys, and this may be an extra rambling on top of this question, but I think the magic number for them has got to be 30 in terms of portal players and recruitment, that you got to get at least that number of players into the building continuously each offseason. It looks like they've got their 10, obviously, from the transfer portal. I would expect the number when this 2027 class is all said and done to be about 20 to 22.
Mm-hmm. So your takeaway, and you use the word bummer. That's a fact. I want to shift gears a little bit to basketball with the ACC opponents coming out today, and Clemson finding out North Carolina is not going to be on the schedule. Overall, though, what did you think about the allotment that the Tigers are going to get from the ACC this coming winter?
Yeah, big bummer not playing North Carolina. I think that's a great litmus test for Clemson, whether that's in Chapel Hill or in Littlejohn, where you have some of those blue blood programs come in and it gives Brownell a test and sort of a measuring stick. One of the big takeaways for me is that you don't have to go out west again, which is going to be a big plus for this group. Obviously, it wasn't a big issue for them where they took care of business against Cal and Stanford, but not having to make that trip twice in back-to-back years, that's got to be ideal for this staff. You're also going to get to host some of what the best of what the ACC has to offer, and the two teams that represented the ACC championship in Duke and Virginia. So I think you have an opportunity still to play some serious talent, but disappointment from a standpoint where you've played North Carolina every year in ACC play since the 1950s when we had Dwight Eisenhower in office. So it's been a while since we haven't had a regular season clash between these two squads. So I was a little bummed out when I read the announcement.
Yeah, that's I mean, you know, there's no NC State home game against North Carolina in this year's ACC schedule. Those sort of things shouldn't happen. I understand. I'm with you. I mean, I hate to see the Clemson-North Carolina thing go by the boards, but, I mean, the ACC, the Big Four, Tobacco Road, that should be round robin. That should be built into every schedule without question in my mind. But, I mean, that's coming from somebody who grew up following the ACC when it was the ACC. Back to the recruiting weekend for football. So they've got about 30 or so coming in. They've already had a bunch of commitments. I think it was 6 leading up to it. So how many more do you think will pop either this weekend or soon thereafter? Do you have a pretty decent feel on how many others might fall in relatively soon?
I would say for this weekend alone, because I think obviously there's going to be a few prospects that you host this weekend, and they're going to want to go take their other trips, and then they may end up committing to Clemson soon after. So there's that situation as well to monitor. But I would imagine that you're going to get multiple this weekend. I don't know if it's going to be 6 like you've had over the last week, and that's sort of the give and take with the momentum you've had, is that you probably won't have as many fireworks during official visit weekend. Although I do expect Clemson to come away with a few more commitments, and I would imagine that Tiger fans will be either reading the presses on Sunday morning or Monday morning and feeling pretty happy about where this recruiting class is.
All right, sir. We thank you so much for the insight. Have a wonderful time with your buddies watching tonight's exciting Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. And we'll talk to you again soon. As always,
Thanks,
thank you
Grayson.
for joining us.
Phil, we missed you on Tuesday, man.
I was on a plane coming back from Chicago. Sorry I couldn't be there.
Oh, wow. We all missed you, buddy, but thank you guys.
That was a day of big news up there. I mean, obviously the biggest news was dealing with Heaven Brown Schuler, and not to take anything away from him on that, but I guess it was yesterday when John Blau came out with his news. So who's going to sit next to Chappell? Who's going to keep Chappell Fowler company up there on the front row every press conference? Are you going to move up to the front row?
I feel good with my rotating seat. I don't like to put myself in one chair, Phil. Sometimes the vantage point changes.
Smart.
Good point. Also, the assassins can't really pick you out as easily. You're moving around. All right, man. Have a good time in Greenville, and we'll talk to you again soon. And say hello to Mr. Hoodwink for us.
I will, to the almighty David Hood. You guys take care.
See ya. All right. Grayson Mann, great guy. His mom is a photographer, by the way. She does a lot of sports photography. Great lady.
Oh, nice.
Appreciate him jumping on with us. love to hit him up for his insight up there on Clemson recruiting and Clemson football, along with the guys like David Hood and all the guys over there. JP, loving having JP on with us as well from the Clemson Insider. So good folks up there. I'm going to hit up some text messages and more when we come back. We're with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources, and we're visiting at the brand new DNR offices at the State Farmers Market. Major, tell us more about this place.
That's right, Phil. The Department of Natural Resources has a new office located at the South Carolina Farmers Market. You can find us at 260D Epting Lane inside the Farmers Market grounds. Look for the DNR logo when you turn off of Highway 221 in West Columbia, or you can always go to the App Store on your Apple or Android device and look for Go Outdoors SC. Download the app and you can buy all of your license needs right there.
Visit GoOutdoorsSouthCarolina.com today.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
In 2012, inside Clemson football's weight room, a different kind of barbell was developed. The Tsunami Bar is a flexible, oscillating bar designed to enhance high-intensity training while helping reduce joint stress. Unlike traditional rigid bars, it moves. That movement forces your stabilizer muscles to activate, your core to engage, and your body to produce force more efficiently. The result is improved strength, better balance, and more functional performance. Tsunami Bar Sports continues to provide innovative, dynamic training solutions that empower individuals of all fitness levels to reach their peak potential. Whether you're training for general fitness, building resilience, or improving rotational strength for sports like golf, the Tsunami Bar challenges your body in ways traditional equipment cannot. Learn more at tsunamibarsports.com.
You know, I'm going to kick your behind me. Thanks to Grayson Mann for being with us. I just noticed here, all three of our teams in the tournament are on the same side of the bracket. And how about this? Can we hope for this? If Coastal were to win its regional at Florida State and Upstate were to win its regional at Alabama, Coastal would host Upstate in a super. Now,
that would be awesome.
Can we dream about that? Can we dream about that?
You can dream all you want, Phil.
Thank you.
You know, I don't know that it's going to be a long shot, clearly, but I don't know that it's just totally impossible.
Well,
I really believe Coastal has a chance to win the Tallahassee Regional.
Absolutely.
And, you know, Upstate, who knows?
I'm going to make my prediction now. I'm going to make my prediction. Now, here's the thing that Coastal's going to have to do. It's going to be their third and fourth starters, because I think they're going to win the first two. I think Fluky's going to pitch one of those memorable, you know, see you later games, a game to remember me by.
Boy, that'd be some kind of story there.
Yeah, you know, just because let's face it, you get the right guy at the right time on the mound, as long as you can just get a couple of runs out there, you know. So let's say they start out 2-0. So that puts them into the Sunday championship game, and you just need your starters to come through. And, of course, you're going to have to deal – you know, Florida State would have to come back through the losers bracket, which they probably would. So you'd be sitting there Sunday night ready to play Florida State in an elimination game. And, you know, how's your number 3 guy going to be? And then if it comes to that, how's your number 4 guy going to be? You know, I could see that being the case.
I love it. I love the idea. One thing to keep in mind, though, if you're looking at sort of comparing this to a weekend, Coastal has lost its last 7 Sunday games.
True.
That's
true.
They just have not fared very well. The last time they won the final game of a series, you have to go back to their series with South Alabama in early April. And ever since, they've lost every Sunday game since.
Mm-hmm.
Lost to Arkansas State, Georgia State, Texas State, you name it.
All right, let me give you some other news. Oh, no, I'll tell you what. Let me hit a couple of these text messages before they grow whiskers. Roger from Woodruff, going back to the North-South doubleheader. Each team would give up one home game and one away game in their ACC schedule to play in it. These were league games. Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. I could have sworn it had another name when they played. Well, I mean, I have to look it up. I could have sworn it had another name when they played in Charlotte. Are you guys covering the High School League 5A baseball game? Well, we did have Coach from James Island on with us, Coach Spivey, with us last night. If so, how many D1 commits are there? I believe there are 8, maybe 9 D1 commits in this series from what we had last night. So it's a bunch. You could field a team with the number of commitments that they've got. From the 843 LSG. What does LSG mean? Plumber? What does that mean? 843 LSG. Is that somebody's initials, LSG?
That's what I assume, yeah. They're from the 843 and
LSG. Who will take over for Sellers when he leaves? Duckworth? What's a Duckworth?
$2 million probably.
I would say
a box
right
of Quackers.
Now. No, I'd say right now you got to look at the Woods kid. You know, he's your number 2 guy. He's gonna make his claim. He's gonna have his opportunity to be the starter after Sellers is gone. And Duckworth's there to compete as well. And you never know who else they might bring in from a free agent standpoint. But yeah, I'd say Woods right now. And then Duckworth, they'll compete, of course. They'll be competing, but Woods is your backup at this particular time. And let's see, this is from Lee from last night. We were talking about North Carolina, Michigan State, the new Clemson president, and talking about some of the slime balls at LSU. He said LSU has the biggest slime balls as coaches, with Kim Mulkey being the breaker. I had go ahead.
My family actually brought that up, said, "Yeah, but don't forget about Kim Mulkey too." And I was like, "Oh gosh."
Yeah. Who was I talking to today? I was talking to Pete Yannity today about LSU coaches, and I mean, they're all winning coaches, big time winning coaches, but there's just something slimy about each one of them. There's just something slimy about it. Maybe because they're slimy, they win. You know. Maybe it goes hand in hand with their talents, that they don't believe enough in their own talents to where they've got to act or do things that maybe more decent people would not do, but they do it anyway, you know. I mean, every one of them's got a bad reputation. I mean, I don't know that has Mulkey done anything? She hadn't done anything illegal, or she hadn't done anything bad other than just being kind of a hard head and kind of a showboat on the sidelines. There's no that's nothing wrong with that. There's no rules against that.
No, and I think she gets more criticism, unfortunately, for her outfits as much as anything.
Yeah, I do too. I'm in the sort of the same boat there. Run up against that all the time. All right, now what else did I want to do?
We got to talk about the big basketball news today.
Okay.
That the Metro Conference is coming back.
Oh, yes, the Metro.
Bring back Elliot Perry and, Clarence Weatherspoon and George McLeod and, Purvis Ellison. Let's go back to the good old days.
The commissioner, Steve Hatchell. We once did. This was in the days when you didn't really do live interviews. You did recorded interviews, and our man Don Williams, back in the early stages of Sports Talk, this had been in the mid to late 80s. We're just a few years old, and we had very few stations, very few listeners. He did a 27-minute interview with Steve Hatchell.
Oh boy!
And we ran it from beginning to end on the Metro Conference, and it was so long you had to put it on like 3 different carts to be able to get the whole interview into the automation.
You have to
as
explain
we
to the plumber what a cart is.
Yeah.
Hey, now I know what a cart is.
But our listeners don't. Carts are these things we used to have back in the Stone Age of radio that were recording. They're sort of like cassettes. They don't look like cassettes. They were bigger than cassettes, but they acted like cassettes. And that's what you recorded on. And you had these big old machines that you put them in, these cart machines. And that's how you played your audio.
Now everything's digital. But there's still carts and digital.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
That's very true.
All right.
Kept the term. But by the way, just in case you're curious and don't know and didn't see the story, the Metro at Atlantic Athletic Conference, the MAC with the 2 A's, is changing to the Metro. And I just think that's a crying shame. If you're going to go back to the Metro, you got to rebrand yourself with old school Memphis and Louisville and South Carolina and Southern Miss and Virginia Tech and Florida State. You got to go the whole 9 yards, right?
Those were your days as a manager, right?
Exactly.
Weren't you a manager during those days when South Carolina's in there?
I think my freshman year at USC, we hosted the Metro tournaments.
I remember that well. I was quite excited about that. I thought it was a big deal. I think the Gamecocks won their first game and then lost the second game of that.
I think you're right. I don't remember. I think the championship game was Louisville and Memphis.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, the place was packed.
Was it really?
I don't think I was there. They were Memphis State at that time.
Yeah. All right, some other notes. Big 12 football coaches unanimously voted in favor of a 24-team playoff format in their meetings
of course
today.
They did.
Thank you for that. Furman head basketball coach Bob Ritchie added to his staff hiring former Southern Conference standout and LSU assistant coach Casey Long, a native of Leesville, Louisiana. He joins Furman after serving as an assistant coach on Matt McMahon's staff at LSU the past 4 seasons. Before that, he coached at Murray State. Okay. Jordan Kay had a story on Gamecock baseball search, and not a whole bunch of new stuff in here, just that he talked to Jeremiah Donati, who told him that they have started the interview process with potential coaches. He confirmed that. He has started the interview process with potential coaches. So who could he have possibly talked to? Is it possible? I'm going to throw this out there.
Go ahead.
I mean, you'd have to be talking to somebody who's not in the tournament, I guess. I mean, you could have talked to some coaches this week before they got involved. Maybe he could have. I mean, could he have talked to a Landon Powell this week? Could he have done that? I'm not saying he has. I'm just thinking out loud. Could he have talked to a Landon Powell?
I think that's very possible. And quite frankly, if Jeremiah Donati is telling Jordan Kay the truth, and I have no reason to believe he's not, it kind of changes my mind that he's already made the hire. You wouldn't be going through the interview process if you've already decided who your next coach is going to be.
Unless it's just up in his head.
May have changed my thought process on that.
Yeah. Hey, that's going to do it. We'll see you tomorrow.